All right, so this is an introduction to the lesson itself. This is for like the teacher or whoever's going to pick up the lesson, just to kind of walk you step by step. So the lessons that we're using are Cornerstone Connections. We've been kind of flipping back and forth, but I think you guys really enjoy these lessons, and it just basically walks through the entire Bible um, and highlights important facts, details, how it applies to us. They're really good, great lessons. So first thing, the teacher's lesson will be in the youth room. You're more than welcome to take it home, study it. They're also available online and on the app. No, they're not available on the app. Those are just the student lessons, but they are available online. So the first thing that you see is kind of like a welcome, general information, kind of what Cornerstone Connections is all about, um, and why they do what they do. Okay, so if we keep going, what tools are provided for teaching the stories? It gives you different links that you can go to, what the actual lesson, it kind of gives you some background on each lesson and kind of guides you as a teacher as to what to do. And just general hints and tips and tricks on what to do to engage the students. And then you'll see this page. This is the scope and sequence. Okay, it runs 4 years, and each year there's 4 quarters. And so right now we are on quarter number 1 in the first sequence. So we're starting right off with uh, Jesus, right, in the Gospels. And so it's really important. Then you can see the what is it called? The yearly view of what's going on. It tells you where the scripture is found, what commentary from Ellen White is used, and the title of each lesson. So that's kind of nice to kind of go through it. And then you've got the overview of the quarter itself, each lesson, what it's mainly about. Now, these videos, I'm going to start with February 8th because I should be here the 25th. That will be my last Sabbath of January. February 1st is PBE, so I'm not going to do that one. And each time that there's PBE, I'm not going to cover a lesson for that. So that's March 1st and March 22nd. And then I will continue to do this until the first week of May, so that it'll go into the next quarter. So there should be a total of 11 lesson overviews that I'll do. So as we continue on, you go to each lesson. So let's go to February the 8th. Okay, that's lesson number 6. And so each lesson starts out with a general outline of the lesson preparing to teach. And so it gives you a synopsis that's really good information for you to read ahead of time. I'm guilty of not reading it ahead of time. I'm not going to sit on some high horse because we're all there, right? So it gives you a synopsis, kind of like a just general overview of what the lesson's about. And then it gives you the targets, your objectives, what you want everyone to take from the lesson, what you want them to know, what you want them to know, feel, and respond. Each time the lesson, it gives you those 3 points. Know, feel, and respond. And then number 3, it gives you the which 28 fundamental belief it's covering, or what it's about. Okay, so if you don't know, the Adventist Church has 28 fundamental beliefs. What we as a church all agree on, what we see as scripturally important, what it might also apply to salvation, and how just generally what we believe as Seventh-day Adventist. And so each lesson takes one of those and focuses on that. Okay, so with this lesson, we're obviously talking about Jesus, and so it's going to be the Son, or fundamental belief number 4. And you can read about that there. The next section is teaching. So this is the part where it's going to start leading you through the guide, or leading you through the lesson. Now on this lesson in particular, lesson number 6, I've numbered them in terms of the general order that I use in going through the lesson, we usually start off with the activity or what do you think? And so we'll open up with prayer and then jump right into what do you think? And that's usually just a question that poses it to everyone, gives them some scenarios to think about. You discuss, you talk about it, etc. Then there's an illustration, like a little story that will help bridge you to the story or the text itself. So this is usually taken from some sort of devotional or commentary. And then there's debriefing and might ask you some questions based off of that illustration. And then finally, you get into the bridge to the story or teaching the story itself. And so reading through that, following it in your own words is more uh, beneficial for everyone. And then from bridge into the story, that's when you'll go into the story, right? And so on this lesson, I've numbered them. Number 1, what do you think? Number 2, into the story. Um, yeah, I probably should put the other one there. So we would read into the story, kind of maybe popcorn it, maybe it's short enough where one person can read it all. And then after you read the story, then you would go out of the story, read the questions, discuss, talk about, think about the points that you drew from the lesson itself. And back into the teacher section, there's a good part called sharing context and background. And that just gives you more things to share with the class and more things to think about. There's other things around here like the did you know or the flashlights, or not the flashlight, the punchlines and the further insight. At the very beginning, you also have a flashlight. This is a quote taken from Ellen White. Probably the desire of ages, since we're talking about Jesus, and then the key text. And so these are things that, if you're kind of going really fast and you need more things to talk about, those are really good to pinpoint and go towards after that. Once you get towards the end of class, there's usually like an activity or the closing section in the teacher's lesson. So that activity you might need to prepare for. For example, in this lesson, it says to pass out cards. So you might need to read in advance to see what you might need. And then finally, the summary, it summarizes everything. And that's the lesson, right? And I know there's a lot of talking, especially when I do it. It's a struggle to get you guys to share, but hopefully, you'll get comfortable enough with it and have a meaningful discussion, right? And so I think it's really admirable that you are taking out this lesson for me. I appreciate it. I really do. And so I hope that you will study your lesson ahead of time, unlike me, and get something meaningful from it, right? Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask anybody, ask the elders, ask your parents, just ask, right? And so hopefully it'll be a blessing to you and to the rest of the class as well. So that is pretty much the breakdown of each lesson. Hope you enjoy.